Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to episode number 20 of the Living for a Living podcast. I am jacked up right now. I'm fired up. I woke up with some good energy. Oh, I got to let it go into the intro real quick. All right, let's do the intro.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
All right, we're good. Yeah, like I said, man, I'm fired up today. I got some energy. The world is a crazy place right now. People are some crazy mugs, and man, I don't even know where to start. I'm just gonna kind of free flow with this one right now. What is going on right now? Like I can't understand what the hell is going on with the world and with people. Like this COVID stuff. From the lockdown, from the George Floyd, all of these things has literally turned people insane. Absolute insanity is going on. And I've stopped kind of using the sheep word, but I'm using something new now because it's not just sheep. It's not people that are just blindly following anymore. It's people are robots. You know, the movies haven't lied to us. They said, in 2020 we were going to have self-flying cars. We don't have that yet. I guess we got Teslas, self-driving, that's almost. But we're going to have robots all around. We got those. They're just really, really realistic human beings. Or pretending to be human beings. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, it's frustrating. As I always say, you're free to believe and think whatever you want. Just have some reasoning behind it and consistency. And what I mean by the robots is people that have been sheep, that have been programmed by the mainstream media and by everything that's going on, and they don't think. It's just a programmed response. You say something to them, and it's like, but masks can save lives. But people are dying. I wish I could dance, like hit the robot. But in all seriousness, it goes for all kinds of things. You talk about Epstein case to somebody in the Hollywood and elite pedophile ring, and it says, well, that might be true, but we don't know. Reminds me of Grandma's Boy, JP from Grandma's Boy. Speaking of JP, if you get the redheaded guy, he's like famous on social media he has the greatest thing about COVID precautions or social distancing and masks and everything. That's just, that guy's the golden right there. He doesn't need my shout out. I'd love his shout out, but his latest video is hilarious. But that's not the point. The point is, people are fucking robots. I just don't get, I do get it, because as I've said in past podcasts, since 2012, the Smith-Munn Act has made propaganda legal in the U.S. And I can't speak globally. I don't know the laws for every other country and all those kind of things and other governments and this and that. And, I've said it before too, Fox News versus Jane Ackey, essentially made it legal for news to knowingly lie and mislead the public under the premise of the First Amendment, which, don't get me wrong, I'm a big, big, big supporter of the First Amendment, but I guess it's not black and white with anything. It's always shades of gray. And so even though I'm a huge proponent of the First Amendment right, when it's used in a way of legally letting the news lie and mislead, then I'm not a fan of it, in that one case. And that's where we're getting to this whole, people just can't fathom. And listen, I gotta say too, I understand why people have become this way and why people just accept what's told to them. whether it be the news or a celebrity or politician or whoever. Like, I get it, because if you work a 9-to-5 job that you hate, and let's say you got to commute for an hour or two per day, and then when you get home, the last thing you want to do is research some shit. You're already feeling like you're getting fucked by the government and society. Last thing you want to do is research some stuff about why you really are getting fucked, or why, it is this way and what's really going on. It's just much easier to turn on the TV and robot out, become programmed. Just sitting there and just getting your downloads in, I mean, the TV is, and I'm going to be all over the place. Like I said, I don't have notes really written. I got a couple things I want to get to, but I'm just going to flow off the top of the head right now. And the TV has a frequency that, I mean, you see it with little kids and adults too. Myself, like, is when a kid is watching a TV and you talk to them and it's like, yeah, what do you want for lunch or whatever? And it's like, like, they get into this thing that, and like I said, myself included, I'll be in another country, Portugal, Czech Republic, Poland, wherever. The TV will be on at a bar, at a restaurant, whatever. I don't understand a fucking word that's being said on the TV. And I'm sitting there like, I don't even know what they're talking about. It's just whether it's the colors, the frequency being put out, like it's like a tractor beam. Dumb and Dumber reference, okay. But it's something I don't get. And on those same lines, I've had this, or I've given this advice, and by no means do I think I have it all figured out. But as I've said, like, man, I'm fucking happy, y'all. Like, I really am happy. And I'm doing what I love. And so I feel somewhat a need to explain how I've gotten to this point, because I know everyone truly wants to get to that point. And a lot of people haven't got there. But if you're struggling with whatever, negativity, anxiety, thinking the world's a bad place, I beg you, turn the TV off. Unplug that motherfucker for a week. Don't read anything in the news. No mainstream media. You can read the comic section. You can read the sports section. But even sports now is turning political and turning into this other thing. But I beg you, for 1 week, just 1 week, no TV, and if you got to get a fix in, do some Netflix. But even then, I'm asking just nothing, and no mainstream media print. Read a book, do something productive, some arts and crafts, some draw, something creative, something to get your mind going. And if you feel worse after that week of unplugged, I'll buy you, we got to see how much I got in the bank account when this happens, but I'll buy you something. I'll give you some money. I don't care, because I know it'll work. I'm not a betting guy. I don't bet unless I for sure know I'm going to win. Most all the time. But you get what I'm saying, and this COVID mask lockdown situation is just like the ultimate proof of the robotic sheep, or just the robots that are starting to take over. And they're on both sides. Don't get me wrong. They're on both sides. And I'm going to explain some of my positions here. I'm going to give an example of a robot in real life that I've had the pleasure of talking to. And actually, I've had the pleasure of talking to a couple robots lately on Instagram. And it goes for the far left and the far right. And, that's an issue we have right now, is like, I think a majority of people are actually in the middle. But It's the extremists that are the loudest. And it's both sides, far right and far left, that are either trying to pull people to their side or contrarily are pushing people away to the other side. And it's maddening. You know, like if you look on a couple episodes back, we did the political spectrum graph thing. And for me, I said, I'm liberal by definition. I am. If you really go by the definition, I'm liberal. I fall a little bit to the left on most social issues. Economically, I'd say I'm more in the middle, a little libertarian, but I would define myself as a liberal if we use the definition, but that definition has been hijacked by the far left, which I don't even know what to call that, because I call it liberals now because, like I said, they hijacked the terminology, the definition. Oh, but the thing is, a person who's, let's say, just a little bit to the left, like myself, one click to the left, I am so much closer in ideas and thoughts and beliefs to a person that's a little bit to the right than I am to the person that's all the way to the left. And it goes the exact same way for someone who's a little bit to the right. They're way closer to, I got a lot of homies that are a little bit to the right, or even 2-3 clicks to the right, and they will completely dismiss the far right, just the way I completely dismiss the far left. And we agree on almost everything. It's just like small little details. And so I think we gotta, and that's why I'm always pushing these conversations and being open to talking about things, because it's us in the middle that's the majority, that's more silent. And I don't mean the silent majority of Trump or whatever. Don't put words in my mouth, please, because that's what's going on right now too. You can't have a conversation with a robot because the robot hears whatever you say or doesn't. They don't hear what you say. They don't read if you're texting. You could text something out and say, hey, I am not saying this. And then they'll respond and say, so are you saying this? It's like, what? Did you read what I wrote? No. But we got to keep having these conversations. And us in the middle, whether we're left or whether we're a little right, we got to team up. For real. I'm all for, no. And again, no matter what your beliefs are, as long as you're not trying to hurt nobody, viciously, and you're good, I got love for you and I got support for you. And even people that are, I said last, I don't got love for Epstein or not, but I still, I try to look at through a lens where I could have some love for that. Because ultimately, those people that are doing some fucked up shit like that, those are the people that need love most. And at the end of the day, that's really, the one major thing we all have in common, besides just being a part of the human race, is we're all looking for just some love and to feel cared about. And that's why, the bad kid, when he's young, that's why he acts out. That's how they get attention. Because they want that attention, for them equates to love. And so, man, that's a rant to go on for 15 minutes to start this thing, huh? And I'm still going. But I don't even know where I'm going. So, man, if you're listening to this, just stay with me, please, or try to. But we got to stick together. The people in the middle, we got to start being louder. We got to start, whether we're calling out whoever, we got to start calling them out. We got to unify. It's okay. And now, as I've explained, I think the robotic thing, I've explained this and that, and I'm gonna read through this conversation I had with somebody online. I'm not gonna blast them out there. And as I read through this conversation, you'll understand my positioning on the masks, on the COVID situation, on everything going on, which, I mean, maybe you don't care about, but obviously if you're listening to this right now, you probably do care about. So anyway, a friend, I guess you could call it, an acquaintance, a person I know for a long time, I guess I wouldn't say like best friends or anything like that, posted something on Instagram. You know, it's going around the picture from the Spanish flu era where they're sitting there with mask on, holding a sign that says, wear a mask or go to jail or something. And so I responded to that because, first of all, everyone who's making the comparison of the Spanish flu to what's going on now, that is such a fucking stretch and so naive if you actually understand history and actually understand numbers, because the Spanish flu killed 50 million people worldwide. 50 million. COVID right now has, and I'm rounding up because maybe by the time I release this, it's out there, but we're only at about 530, I think, which we're going to get into the numbers too, which are, and this is accepting the numbers that are presented, which I think if anyone read and heard some things would agree it's flawed, but the numbers for COVID deaths right now is 600,000 versus 50 million. Okay? For statistical percentage people out there, it's about 1.5%, and I think that's even rounding up. 500,000 is 1% of 50 million. So, okay? So, yes, to me, that the Spanish one was a pandemic. People are dying. This one is not at all. And so to put them in the same category is irresponsible, in my opinion. And so I messaged this person. I said, they posted that picture and they said, I said, 50 million to 600,000 deaths, ... And another little alternative fact for you or whatever is the 1918 pandemic, like also coincided with the new technology of radio. And so anytime new frequencies are put into the air like this, there's always something like this that happens. And I'm not saying that I am not saying that COVID was started because of 5G, but it helped make it become so globalized so quickly and spread so quickly. I know the 5G thing has become like a main talking point to make fun of conspiracy theorists for. Even though there's like hundreds or thousands of scientists and doctors who've signed petitions saying that it's bad for our health. And I mean, at the core, like Wi-Fi, like all that radiation, like is bad. Like it affects our cells. Look it up. I'm not a scientist. I honestly, I can't spit it out in perfect science terms, but to the layman, like that's what's happening. And so I explained this. I said, every time that happens, there's an illness that breaks out because our cells aren't used to it. And, I said that. And so this person said, so are you saying this is from 5G? And I said, no, I'm saying that's how it became worldwide so quickly, not saying that 5G created it. Interesting. I said, yeah, but that was kind of more the secondary part. I said, to compare what's going on now to the flu, to that flu, Spanish flu, is a little bit of a reach in my opinion. But to each their own. They respond, oh, I wasn't trying to compare. I think any pandemic is bad, whether it's 50 million or 600,000 and counting. Better to just wear a mask. Okay, we'll get a counter going right here of better to just wear a mask or a mask thing. Okay, I said, well, and I'm genuinely, when I message people, I'm coming from a place of love. I want to understand what people are actually thinking. And in turn, because I don't think people are thinking a lot of the time. when they just regurgitate some of this stuff because it's just the talking points of the TV or a headline that they read. And it's just people talking what they think rather than what they know. And on that same thing, we all really don't know anything for 100% certainty unless it's personal experience, you know? And even then, that can get clouded because you only remember things. A memory is only like how you remembered it the last time. And so every time it evolves, every time you remember it a different time, if that makes sense. And so I said, you know, how is this not a comparison? You know, if you're saying they're both pandemics, then you're comparing them to each other. And I said, I'm not trying to be a dick, but that just doesn't make sense. Doesn't answer this question. He goes, so are you arguing that people shouldn't wear masks? I'm confused. I one time haven't said anything about masks. There's a second time mask. And I said, you know, this is the main go-to playbook of the robot is when presented with a question or a statement that they don't have an answer to, it goes straight into another question to change topics slightly within the subject. And so I said, well, can you first explain how it's not a comparison so I can understand that? I said, a death is a death. There's no comparison to make. Oh, okay. And I said, well, now I'm confused too. I said, I don't agree with that. And so I said, so are then you pro-life and anti-death penalty? And in quotes, you know, I said, I'm pro-choice and pro-death penalty for what it's worth. I'm just trying to figure out your logic if a death is a death, right? Because if a death is a death, then the person, the baby being aborted, that's a death. And the person being killed on death row, that's a death. And they're all equal. That's how I interpreted it. And again, now we go, sounds like you're trying to pick an argument. I said, I'm really not, I promise. I'm just genuinely curious. This is so off topic. I go, because what you're saying doesn't make sense to me. I said, you said a death is a death, right? And you're not making sense either. Do you just message people and do this all the time? Again, not one question's been answered. Not one thing's been responded to. It's just all deflection. I said, you know, I'm just trying to understand you. So, well, what's the point of messaging me? I'm trying to understand what you're trying to achieve here. And I said, originally it was just to say that 600,000 to 50 million is a stretch of a comparison. Like I said. I go, and now that you said the death is a death thing, I'm trying to understand your logic for that. Because I don't agree, but I don't think I'm right either. So I just want to know your thought process. I'm just trying to learn. And then we go into, but why do those numbers matter? If people are dying, okay, there's a dying. What is the difference between 50 million and 600,000? People are dying. That's the point. And I wish I would have said in this case, well, the difference between 50 million and 600,000 is 49.4 million people. That's like common math, I think. You know, I go, I guess I'm strange to want to know what people are to know why people think the way they do. Here we go. The point is people are dying and to wear a mask. Another people are dying, wear a mask comment. That's it. So I said, so no discussion. I go, for what it's worth, I always remind this to the robots because robots always feel like they're being attacked. I said, for what it's worth, I'm typing in a calm and loving tone. So you're reading way too far into it. I said, I'm not trying to attack you at all. I get that. But I only posted that to show that people should wear a mask and that that it was a pandemic then and there is one now and people should wear a mask. That's it. I said, because 100 years ago they had a pandemic that killed 10 times more people, but it's not a comparison, right? So, but what is your point by saying the numbers? That, again, now we're not responding to anything I said. That COVID isn't that bad? Is that what you're trying to say? Again, putting words in my mouth. Did I say it wasn't that bad? I mean, I don't think it's that bad. I think 600 deaths are bad, or 600,000 deaths are bad. But on that note, just so we're all clear, 150,000 people die every day globally. So 600,000 deaths over the course of about 5 months is the equivalent of 4 days of normal deaths over 5 months. Is it really that big of a deal? To me, maybe, again, dying is sad. Getting sick is sad. Getting old is sad. It's if you have a immunity deficiency disorder, that's sad, and that's not fair. Guess what? It's life. It is. Like, death is part of life. It's kind of what makes life so beautiful in a way. And so, again, getting back to this, it's, and I said, because statistics matter. In what sense? Like, are you saying 600,000 people dying doesn't matter? Again, how did I ever say that? How do you even get that from what I said? I said, in responding to in what sense, I said, in all senses, because statistics are facts, right? Supposedly, facts matter. No? And I said, no, not at all. Then next, are you saying we shouldn't wear masks? I'm confused what your point is. Obviously, the Spanish flu was much worse. We all know that. Okay, at least we got some common ground there. And I said, I'm saying if you want to wear a mask, you should. If a business wants to make it mandatory to enter their establishment to wear a mask, then they should be allowed to do that. But if you're walking down the street minding your own business around nobody, I think you should be able to do what you want. And so that's my opinion on this thing. Here in Czech Republic right now, we had a couple cases at the town over, I guess. And so when I first got here, masks weren't required at all. Now on the bus and in like the grocery store, they're required. I have the choice to not ride the bus. I have the choice to not go shop at the grocery store. I could get it delivered. I have a choice. And those are all private things. So I'm okay with that. And I know if I want to get on the bus, I'll throw the little mask on. Like I said, I'm putting it under my nose because I can't really breathe out this thing. This thing's just for show, baby. And so I said that. And the robots love to not understand what you're saying and read into things wrong. Because again, as I've said, people aren't reading to understand. People only read what they want to read. They see what they want to see. They hear what they want to hear. There's no actual reading, comprehending, critical thinking going on. It's just, they type something, it kind of has a couple of these keywords, so I'm going to take it this way because it fits my narrative better if I take it like this. And so they said they should be allowed if they aren't wearing a mask. That's not what I said at all. Oh, so this is the point. You don't think people should have to wear a mask? I said they should be allowed to make a mask mandatory to enter a business like Walmart. Got it. I said, this is just, at this point, I know there's nothing being listened to. At this point, though, I didn't think I was going to throw it on the podcast yet, but it's like, I'm curious. I'm learning about robotics right now. Got it. I said, you sure? Because you just jumped to the conclusion that was at the opposite of what I was trying to say. So then what is your point? I said, again, I was just trying to understand your thought process because it's interesting to me. And I like to hear others' perspectives. I was not trying to attack you at all, but I feel like that's how you took it. Maybe I'm wrong though. I'm just not understanding what your point is. I said, are you trying to? Yes, but you're not getting there. So I screenshotted what I had just said. Said, I'm saying if you want to wear a mask, you should. If a business makes it mandatory to enter their establishment, they should be allowed to do that. But if you're walking down the street, I just fucking said it. When you're talking to robots, you got to repeat yourself. And think about this. When you're talking to Alexa or Siri or whatever, and you say, hey Siri, hey Alexa, blah, 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 they have an automated response for what you just, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you please repeat it? They have these automated responses. And so that's why I'm saying these people are fucking robots. I said, I already got there, but you read what I wrote incorrectly. No, I understand what you're saying. But then why did you message me saying 50 million deaths for 600,000? Talking in circles. And I said, I guess I also mean that you shouldn't go to jail for not wearing a mask, like the picture says. But also, people should be wearing a mask. Like, why not just wear a mask? It's going to save someone's life. Sure, if they want to, or an establishment requires. Then I explained, like Czech Republic, the buses, the stores. But in Barcelona, where I just was, they just made it mandatory to wear a mask anytime you're outside. And you can get up to a 600 euro fine if you're not. You could be in the mountains. I know of people who were in the mountain region in Catalonia, and this was during lockdown when you weren't allowed to leave. They had helicopters flying in the mountains to find people, for people on the ground to give them tickets. So what I'm saying, it's not just black and white. I said, especially when the CDC literally said the transmission of asymptomatic people is incredibly rare. And we're doing all of this stuff for something that's affecting 0.1% of the population. And that's being extremely generous with the number. And this is all using stats that seem to be suspicious, at least in the US. And at least we kind of get a little understanding, of course it's not black and white, and there's controversy and whatnot, and people have their opinions, but why don't people just wear a fucking mask? It's a mask. Just wear it. I said, well, there's studies that say if it's used improperly, that it can actually do more harm than good because you're fucking touching it all the time. You're using a dirty mask. Or studies that show it limits oxygen over a longer period of time. That, science says that like your brain needs oxygen to think. And I said, or it could just be a mask now, but something more later. It creates a slippery slope. And this is, I said, which is why I said, if it's for the bus, store, / whatever, cool, that's fine. But to just have to wear one everywhere, I disagree. And I think a majority of people would agree with that. I said, but that's just me. And then I use an extreme example here. I said in the beginning, although it's also right now, the Trump administration is constantly being compared to Hitler for whatever they can figure out a way to compare it to. The book thing that was photoshopped, the Bible thing, And so I said, Jews just had to wear a Star of David on their clothes at the start of Holocaust. And I'm not saying that this is the next Holocaust whatsoever. That's just an extreme example of the slippery slope. Very extreme. I'm not even sure that can be an example. I think it can. Because I just used it as an example. And I said, it's very extreme. I said, kind of like comparing 50 million deaths to 600,000. That doesn't make sense. Those comparisons are not the same. I said, they're both extreme. The Holocaust, again, the Holocaust example is wild. Ha 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 ha. I gotta stop responding after that one. Sorry. I said, of course, that's convenient. One thing is said and the convo must end. Because that's the way the robots get out of these things. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Could you please repeat that? You ask Siri to play a certain song like 4 or 5 times, and by the end, she just fucking plays some song just to shut you up. You're going nowhere, and it's so off topic. I said, it's only off topic to you because your only topic is just wear a mask. Just do it. It's not that hard. It might save a life. I said, again, I don't think you're actually trying to understand me. because that's all I was trying to say. I'm not trying to talk about radio waves and the Holocaust. Kind of a fair point. I said, that's a pretty black and white statement, though, of just wear a mask, right? What if you have a respiratory condition? What if, like studies say, it doesn't really work that well? Says, this is the kicker right here. Hopefully you're still with me right now. I'm like 20 minutes in talking about this conversation. Obviously, it triggered me a little bit, but it just is a perfect example of everything that the robots, I just said that like Theo Vaughn, are saying. Trust, and here it is, the kicker. Trust me, I look at everything with an open mind, but not that kind of stuff. And I said, please reread what you just wrote. I look at everything with an open mind, but not that kind of stuff. I go, then that's not everything. Like, it's the most hypocritical statement and contradictory statement that you can make. That should be the fucking poster child. That should be the anthem for the mask wearers, for the robots. Says, here we go. Here we go. I've already said I'm not comparing the two. You're comparing Holocaust stars to face masks? No. I literally said I'm not doing that. I said it's a slippery slope comparison. And at this point, I don't think this person understands what a slippery slope means. So I asked, do you know what a slippery slope means? Oh my God, then what was the point of bringing it up? You're just talking to talk this point. And I said, I'm trying to explain myself because you keep saying you don't understand or keep asking what the point is. You literally haven't answered any of the questions I've asked. You're not proving your point then, and clearly we don't agree. I said, we agree more than you think, because we really do. I've already said I'm with the mask shit for the bus and for the whatever, or I'm not with it, but I'll abide by it because of the rule, because I have the choice not to ride that shit. And I said, every time I say or ask something to prove my point, you say it's irrelevant and doesn't matter or ignore the question. So your position is always wear a mask no matter what, right? And then it stops responding. I said my last little point, said, I'll leave you be. Sorry to present you with an opposing argument. Much love. And then they unfollowed me. Canceled, unfollowed. It's like, what? I just don't get it, man. And so, no, man, that one is, and this person is a Seattle person. And Seattle right now, and I apologize to my homies out there who aren't in the echo chamber, but Seattle has become one of the biggest echo chambers I've ever seen. Orange County is like a big bubble in itself, but kind of its own thing that I've personally experienced. But the Seattle echo chamber, that if you don't repeat exactly what is being said by whoever's the leader at this point, for whatever the cause is, you could say the same thing with the one wrong word and you're out. You don't get it. You're not with the cause. You're hurting us. And so, I feel bad for, I have a lot of friends and family that are back in Washington, back in Seattle, and I feel bad for them because I couldn't imagine. I just have to see it in little short stories, and I couldn't imagine being there. I'll be back for Christmas, I think, but man. And so, yeah, I hope that story time was fun for some people. I've also been talking with another person who's not even American, doesn't even know what is really going on in our system or country, who hasn't read or done any research on anything besides seeing a couple headlines, and just argues whatever their thoughts are and how they feel. And it's just like, I'm getting tired, My thing is, for me, if you're going to post about something, you better be willing to talk about something. And so when people do respond to whatever little, I'm kind of poking some fun at people and trying to make people think. And so if people respond to it, even if I know it's not going to go anywhere, I give them the time of day at least, to respond and say what I'm thinking. But at this point, I'm just done repeating myself. And I guess I'm just kind of talking to myself, about that. And another story to go along with the COVID thing that I'd like to share that, you can take it for what it is. It's kind of a secondhand story. But I was talking to my girl the other day, and she's been waitressing and working at this nice restaurant that's still open in Barcelona. And she said, like, the last table of the night, they were in there like all night, and there was one lady on the table that, like, they vibed super good together. I guess she had some like glasses that my girl had, so they kind of had this thing going and were friendly the whole night, which can sometimes be rare at European restaurants with waiters and people dining. And at the end of the night, my girl went out to like give them the check or whatever, and this lady she was talking to said, excuse me, could you take your mask off, please? My girl was like, sure, okay. And she said, why? And she's like, well, I wanted to see your face, and like you seem really nice, and so I'd like to tell you this. She said, I'm a doctor, and I work at a hospital in Barcelona that's now become a COVID-only hospital. And she said, I just want to let you know that, like, masks don't do shit. Like, it's all bullshit. And she said the way that the doctor said all of this. And she said the reason that hospitals are so overran and so crazy with everything right now is because that, like, the baseline symptoms for COVID are so broad and so general that anybody experiencing anything from a little sore throat to a little fever to a little cold to a little cough thinks they got it and goes in. And then that overcrowds everything. And so, I already thought that, because if you read the testing for what COVID is actually testing for, it says on the tests, like, positives can come back when you just have a similar thing that relates to the common cold or flu. And then the doctor asked my girl, she said, do you want to have kids eventually? Or the doctor asked my girl, do you want to have kids? And my girl said, yeah, I mean, eventually I do. And the doctor said, well, then don't take the vaccine, because they're not even telling us what all is in it. And it's being pushed so fast. We get to know a couple of the ingredients, but the other insert, like, we don't know. They're not telling us. And so she said, I felt the need to tell you that. And so that was interesting to me. Take that for what it is. And then they closed out, and she said, the doctor asked my girl, how many deaths, how many people do you think die this week in the COVID-only hospital? And at this point, my girl kind of knows that she's playing a certain game, kind of. She said, I don't know, 0? She said, no, it was 3. 3 people died over the week, and all 3 people had, like, major pre-existing conditions. And my girl didn't know how to translate them into English, and so I don't know how to say them either. But then the doctor lady said, I'm forced to sign the death certificate saying that it was a COVID death. And if not, then I can get fired. And so, I got some other again, it's secondhand account, but friends of friends that are nurses at Vall d'Hebron, it's the biggest hospital in Barcelona. I guess the ICUs have been empty. Again, I don't know that for fact, so take that with a grain of salt. And so, yeah. I know that's a long one right there. But what else is going on? What else? Oh, we had the Kanye speech, the Kanye rally, either yesterday or the day before. I'm 9 hours ahead, so I always can't figure out what day it is back home when something happens. And I'm going to be an outlier here. I loved Kanye's rally, dude. Like, Kanye is spitting some truths. Talking about Nikola Tesla. I mean, and he's already being drugged through the mud, labeled as crazy. What happened to Kanye? Da, 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 da. And I guarantee 95% of the people who are saying those things didn't even watch the full thing. Because this is going to be a wild... Kanye is going to turn into the Black Trump. I said it. He is. Because Kanye doesn't give a fuck. Kanye's going to say what Kanye's thinking. And unlike Trump, Kanye is way more articulate, and Kanye is a creative genius. And so, who has done his research and has been around some people that know what they're talking about. And so, Kanye, I mean, this is another, I got a prediction for you. You ready for this one? Sit down. In the next 4 years, especially if Trump wins, and Trump's going to win by a landslide, I have a feeling. Aliens are going to come to the U.S. or Kanye is going to commit suicide or get shot or be in an accident and die. If he continues on this path, at least, is what I'm saying. If Kanye starts saying he's going to run in 2024, I don't know if he'll make it there. Because, I mean, you start fucking with the 1%. You start bringing to light some pedophilia shit. Talking about the true motives for some people. You just miraculously commit suicide. Even sometimes, and some of these suicides are impressive, man. I mean, there's one guy who was doing some dirt on Hillary and the Clintons. He was so good at suicide, he shot himself twice in the head. Damn, man, you must really want to kill yourself. You know? I mean, dude, there's been something like, fuck, let me look this up. Things that make you go, huh? There we go. So there has been, let's see. Oh, of course, Facebook has now falsified this information. Checked by independent fact checkers. In case you don't know, the internet is becoming incredibly censored. Whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Google. For a country that claims to be so free, we now hate to make our own choices. You know? Land of the free, home of the brave. Whew. More like land of the censored, home of the scared. Or home of the fear. I don't know how to, I don't know. I got to put that one back up. But yeah, the fact checker conspiracy theory for sure. But anyway, there's been about how many pages is this? 30? About 30 to 35. I think I read something, maybe 50. 50 people that have been doing something to try and expose pedophilia, from Clinton to someone else up high up, that have died in a tragic accident or killed themselves. I mean, shit. What was it? The judge that just got assigned to the Epstein case, son got killed and husband got shot by a fake FedEx driver 4 days after they got the Epstein case. That's a coincidence, though, for sure. For sure, coincidence. All of them are coincidences. Duh. And so, I mean, all these people. Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, Charles Ruff. This one, Gareth Williams, a spy with M16. I don't even know what that is. He had illegally hacked into secret data of Bill Clinton. Found dead in his apartment August 16th, 2010. It was ruled a suicide, but he was padlocked, naked, inside of a duffel bag in his own bathtub. That's an impressive suicide. That should be a magic trick. Gary Webb, American journalist, exposed the CIA running drugs in and out of the country under the Clinton and Bush administration. 2010 to December 10, 2004, he was found dead in his apartment. The strange part, he had shot himself in the head with a shotgun twice. Again, these are impressive suicides. And with all this, I'm not making light of suicide, because that shit and depression and all that stuff that goes on, man, because that's some real stuff. I battle with it myself. I've had some bad thoughts throughout my life. And so I'm really not trying to make light of it in actuality, in reality. I'm just trying to spin these ones that are so difficult to believe as true suicides, you know? And when things get put out like this, it delegitimizes the people that are really going through shit, you know? And so, I mean, there's 37 photos right there that I could go through and talk about, but I'm not going to go through each one. But yeah, I was saying that because of Kanye. But the Kanye speech, it was some good stuff. Make sure, before you call him crazy, you watch the full speech. If you can find it. I watched it live. I told my friend this just before I started recording the pod, and he said, dude, I can't find the full one online already. I said, oh, that's interesting. That's a coincidence. You would think that would be everywhere, right? And I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I'm going to try and find it when I'm done with this. Like I said, I saw it live. So, yeah. Man, oh man. And then the other thing that fired me up today, and I'm praying it's trolls, but the some new, I think, and I have a feeling it's starts as a troll, starts as a joke, and it's going to slowly move into not, is, and I don't know this isn't fact, but the thing called clover gender or age fluidity or trans age, which basically means that people, grown-ups, identify themselves as children stuck in a grown-up body. And so it's like, it's the first step, or maybe the second step, I don't know, of normalizing pedophilia. Because I'm telling you, the pedophiles' days are coming. And in the next year to, I don't know how long, I'm sure some celebrities are going to come out. There's going to be some study done that says this clover gender bullshit is real. And it just baffles me. Like I said, that one I don't really know for sure on, so I'm not going to go deep into. And if something comes out again on it and I'm wrong, I'll hop on here and say that right in the beginning. But shit, like I said last week, I'm getting kind of tired of, I'm getting tired of talking about pedophiles and COVID and whatever. I'd love to talk about sports. I guess NBA is back, although I haven't watched it yet. I should watch that. I miss watching some sports. I've been on my own team's grind. You know, we got our first game coming up in less than a month. We got 3.5 weeks out. And luckily, Czech Republic, they closed the borders early. Masks were mandatory at one point, I think. I don't know the full rules, but the Eastern Europeans are definitely good rule followers. And also, the main thing with all this COVID stuff is in the countries that don't have some political power agenda going on, it's not still a big deal. People are moving on from it. It's only the places that have this weird little power struggle going on that it's a big deal. And the funny thing to me is that gets completely swept under the rug completely is like China has no numbers of the coronavirus, and it started there, and they have the most people in the world. Yet, so their numbers are fucking fake themselves. But on that same note it's only places, the US, it's bad still, and there's debates and arguments going on because it's election year. Brazil, it's still pretty bad because the president down there is not a good dude from what I've read, but I don't know enough to really say that fully. That's talking from some other Brazilian friends, but I know that you talk to certain American people and they're going to tell you Trump is the next Hitler, so I don't know. I got to take that into consideration. And then the other place where I just was is Spain, in Catalonia. They just entered, and if you don't know, which if you're watching this and you're American, you for sure don't know the Spanish Catalonia history. I didn't know it till I moved there and got schooled on it by one of the guys on the team. Catalonia is a region in Spain. They have their own language, Catalan. It's one of the oldest languages ever. I think it's like one of the first democracies ever. The Catalans are super fucking proud of that and want to tell you that every chance they get to. And they want to get independence from Spain. And so there's this constant kind of rivalry. Even Barcelona is in Catalonia. And so there's this constant rivalry of Spanish versus certain Catalan people don't consider themselves Spanish and don't want to speak Spanish. Like in Barcelona, every sign, everything is in Catalan and Spanish. Those are the two languages of the city. Of the country too, maybe. I'm not positive. So what I'm saying though is every place that it's still a big deal. Oh, because Catalonia only is going back into lockdown. Has gone back into lockdown. Where you're not gyms are closing. Gyms are completely closing. But bars and restaurants are fully open. So you can go get drunk and fucking hug guys and do all that. Sit at a table with 7 people around close to each other. But you can't go to the gym. And it bugs me because one of my good homies in Spain, Wonka, owned the gym that I worked at. And I feel fucking bad for the dude because the gym is dope. If you're in Barcelona and listening to this, CrossFit Sans is a sick spot. And he's put his life into it. And who knows how this goes? Who knows? And so for him to lose this over some bullshit sucks. And that's happening to a lot of people. just the way I am, I'm always trying to look for the positives in certain things. And it's funny. It's weird to say, but I'm thankful for COVID. And let me explain. Because without COVID, I wouldn't be here in Czech Republic. Without COVID, I wouldn't have put in the grind time and got the YouTube monetized and got my wheels turning that way. You know? And because if life just carried on as normal, I would have finished my season out in Spain. The team here in Czech Republic had already had a quarterback here that was their guy, and they were going to do their thing. And so paths would have never crossed. And I'm fucking loving it here in Czech. And so I'm grateful. And there's some good people around here. And man, you know, switching subjects a little bit, I think we're good on that. I'm like an hour in right now, aren't I? Yeah. You know, Czech Republic's a cool place. It's funny to me now, you know, now I've been here like a week and a half or so I have a little bit more than just a first impression. You know, I've gotten to talk to multiple different people, and it's funny, there's like this, you know, Czech is a Slavic language, Polish is a Slavic language, Slovakian, Serbian, Croatian, they're all Slavic languages, so they all have some similarities. And so like there's certain words here in Czech that are the exact same in Polish that I'd know, and I lived in Poland for a year already, played 2 seasons out there, and I liked it. And, you know, I'll bring up the similarities or compare Czech to Poland to my Czech friends, and they don't like it. There's like this weird rivalry. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's this like weird rivalry that anytime you say that, I could just get the feeling of like, it's like, no, it's not the same. I was like, motherfucker, you guys both say kurva, which is like, I guess translates to prostitute, but they use it as fuck. And so that's kind of funny to me. And I think maybe I've said it, I don't know, is Czech to me, it reminds me of a lot of like Poland, but just a much more laid back version. And I'm in the area in Czech Republic is Bohemia, which as my hippie self, I vibe with that. And so it's just been cool. You know, I like, as I said last time, like guys on the team are ready to work. I've been helping coach the youth team and this flag team that's coming over from a different city that's cool as hell and full of some kids that, I mean, are some good kids, both as humans and as athletes and workers. Like, you know, compared to, I was coaching flag in Barcelona the last few months, and to call it coaching is a little bit of a overstatement, or it's a generous term. A lot of the time I was just babysitting, and you know, the Spanish kids' English wasn't very good, and their manners were even worse. They didn't listen. You know, I wouldn't raise my kid in Spain, that's for damn sure, or at least not with I don't know, Spanish mom or something. Man, the kids in Spain are little shits. You see them on Metro hitting their mom, talking shit to their mom. I was like, boy, man, I got my ass whooped by my mom one time. We were in Target, and I wanted a Power Ranger video. I can remember this vividly. And I wasn't getting a Power Ranger video. It wasn't my time to get something. And I was letting her know that I wasn't cool with that. And she told me to stop, shut up. I didn't. She left the cart in the store, took me out to the car, and yeah. Spanked the fuck out of me. Guess what, though? I'm a smart kid. I learned my lesson. I didn't do that again. You know, I mind. Like, all the time I hear people, you know, and I think maybe some parents just like, you know, that was their go-to way. My mom wasn't like that. But I also think I was just kind of a smart kid where like, oh, okay, like that got my ass whooped. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore then. I'm good on that. I don't need that. And so, you know, I think I only really got like really spanked. Got spanked with the wooden spoon a couple times. I don't remember for what. I got my mouth washed out with soap a couple times. Maybe only one. One for sure, but it's got to be more than once. For saying no to my mom, that was a big one. You don't tell your mom no. But anyway, I've been super impressed with these Czech kids, and English is pretty good. And I'm sitting there, I'm teaching them, telling them footwork, cone drill, this, whatever, offensive, quarterback stuff. And I mean, they're locked in. Understand? And then do it. And then not only do it, but do it with some effort. And for me, that makes all the difference. That makes it so much more fun. And so, yeah. But there's definitely a Polish-Czech rivalry. I got to figure that out. I got to ask my Polish homies, do you guys not like Czech Republic too? Because Czech Republic definitely doesn't like you. When they're all pretty similar to me. I mean, we're all pretty similar. I got a new kebab spot here in Czech Republic. I said I got the one by my house the other day, last episode. First time I've ever been served a kebab by a white lady. And so I should have just known it was going to be shit from the beginning. Because you want a kebab from an immigrant guy. Like 100%. You want that. And I mean, I'm an immigrant. It's funny too. I've been going to the Nepalese restaurant. It's worked at by Nepalese guys, but it's all Indian food. They don't got no dal bhat. They don't got no saag. They don't got momo. I looked at the guy who worked there, Dilip. I'm like, bro, what? No momo. Like, what? This ain't Nepalese if you don't got momo. But I went there with a couple of my teammates after practice one day, and I shake two guys' hands as I walk in, and I've been there like a week. They're like, "You've been here a week and you like know people?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I vibe with the Nepalese, and I get down. I like the immigrants wherever I live because motherfucker, I'm an immigrant too." And so anyway, I got the new kebab spot down in the city center, and my homie Furkat from Uzbekistan, first dude I've ever met from Uzbekistan. Unfortunately, he just went back for a couple months, so hopefully I'll see him when he returns. But we had a nice, good conversation. The thing we were talking about is like, language. I asked him, what language do they speak in Uzbekistan? Because I don't know shit about Uzbekistan, Turkestan, all the stands. There's a lot of stands. And he said, well, we speak Uzbek, and we also speak Persian, and in the north, I think this is what he said, there was one other language that they spoke. And, I said, yeah, I'm trying to learn a little bit of Czech. And he looks at me, he goes, man, it's going to be easier to teach somebody English than for you to learn Czech. I said, yeah, you're probably right. But I got a couple Czech words. After a week or two, I got some Czech words I've been learning, trying to learn one or two a day. Out here, they say ciao for hello and goodbye, kind of like Italy. So you can say ciao, ciao, ciao. The funniest one to me is for hello is ahoy. Ahoy. Like, that's like some sailor pirate shit. I was doing Duolingo before I got out here, and they're like, hello is ahoy. I'm like, there's no way motherfuckers say this. My first day out here, I hear, ahoy, da 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 da. And I was like, yo, they really say it. I'm talking to my friends, guys on the team. Ahoy, you kind of save ahoy for when you're talking to girls. You don't say ahoy to the homie. Ahoy is kind of like, hey. And so, yeah, I got ahoy, I got ciao, I got, it's the same in Polish. Jak się masz is how are you. Dobrze is good. A ty and you. So I can at least, I like asking people how they're doing, which isn't like always, that's kind of like an English American thing of like asking people how they're doing, like at the store or whatever. And so now I'm hitting people when I walk into the gym. The girl who works there, who's always there, she's kind of like the person I'm testing out my new words on, and she's super cool, speaks hella good English, married to the guy who owns it. And I walked in the other day, I said, jak się masz? And she like, dobrze, dobrze. And then today I went in there and she said, jak się masz? Dobrze, dobrze. And I said, wait, how do I say in you? She said, a ti. I said, a ti, dobrze. And man, like little travel advice, like when you're traveling to another country that speaks a different language, like at the very least, like learn, like hello or like good day, good morning, whatever. Thank you. And like excuse me or sorry or please. And so out here, jak się masz? How are you? Sorry. It's funny. They just say sorry. 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 So, sorry. I'm like, what? And then please is prosin. What else? I don't know. Oh, jak, like what's up? Jak ye? Bro is bracha, bracho, I think. Jak ye, bracho. I don't know what my accent sounds like, but that's what's up, bro. And I had to learn. I wanted, because I'm going in. People out here, small town, don't speak a ton of Czech. I mean, they speak a lot of Czech. I don't speak any. They don't speak a ton of English. It's kind of hit or miss. And so, I want to just be able to like order something. Even if I got a point to what I'm ordering, I would like to say, can I have this in Czech? And so I learned that. And that's mohu si obinat. It's like, can I order? Basically. Mohu si obinat. And I remember, like, when I'm learning a new language like that has like no translation in my mind, I just remember it by the sounds. And so mohu is like, I got a homie named Mo. So it's like mohu. And then second one's just si. And then obinat. And my got homie who taught me was like, think of it like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I was like, oh, okay, obinat. And so I learned that one. And then today I learned, like, I asked the girl at the gym, I said, how do I say, like, have a nice day? Because I always say that in English when I, leaving. And she goes, we don't really say that. And I said, okay, well, what do you say? She's like, well, we say kind of like see you later. And I was like, well, what's that? And now I got to remember it. It's naskledano. Naskledano. But it's like naskledano. Naskledano. I think. How's my Czech? That's like or see you later. But I use it as have a nice day. So I'm just trying to learn a little bit per day. I've been on Duolingo. I mean, language is so interesting to me, man, because at the end of the day, like, we all say the exact same shit for the most part. We just use different noises and different sounds to do it. And, language, it's like, it doesn't really matter if you can speak perfectly, because the whole goal of language is communication. And so if you're one of those people out there who's like learning a new language or whatever, don't worry about being perfect. Like, as long as I understand you, you understand me, like, we good. We'll worry about that perfect shit later. And so, I know a few verbs in Czech just because they're the same in Polish. Don't tell them that, though. And, yeah, man. I think that's good. hour 15, I'm rocking it. Like I said, I guess I told that one story or explained that one conversation for like 30 minutes probably. So that's what we got. All right. Episode 20 in the books. I got to get a guest on soon now that I'm feeling a little bit more confident and liking the solo gig thing. We'll see. We'll get somebody on, maybe someone on the team or something like that. I don't know how to do it, but, I watch the Theo Vaughn podcast a lot, and he always has, people call in and then he responds to them. And so if you're still listening at this point, could you let me know? And could you ask a question or bring up a topic that maybe you'd like to hear me talk about or respond to? I'm trying to, with the podcast, I literally just like pick and choose little things from everyone's podcast that I like. I heard Schultz does the same. you know. And so like if I can steal something from Theo, like that'd be cool. If yeah, either comment it or, you know, find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, and either do a video message or a voice message too. I'll figure out a way to do that. That'd be so cool, bro. Like, that'd be so cool if we could get that going. Because, like I said, man, I want to, like, I'm doing this for me and you. Whoever you are. Yeah, even you, dude. Even you, girl. But yeah. My vibe is high right now. You know, my vibe is high. And that's, dang, I meant to say this earlier. And that's another thing with the COVID stuff and just sickness in general is like, it's a lower vibration. And so when people aren't telling you to eat good food and drink water and sleep and get sun and all those things like help raise your vibration, your frequency. You know, there's food. All of food has its own frequency and vibrational output. And so when you eat constant bullshit, you're literally lowering your vibe constantly. And so also it goes into what you ingest. I don't mean physically, I mean mentally. And so when you're constantly watching the news that's talking about bad shit always, you're lowering your vibration constantly, even if it's subconsciously. And so for me, man, yo, I'm healthy. That's my mindset always. I'm healthy. This shit ain't fucking with me because I'm healthy and I'm always going to be healthy and I'm going to keep my vibe high. And then if it might drop one day, all right, we'll pick it back up. You know, you got the choice every single day when you wake up to either be the victor or the victim. Every day you got that choice when you wake up, and there ain't no in between. And it's okay every now and then to be the victim. But just keep it to one day or a half a day or a morning. Right now we got people being the victim for weeks, months, years, lives. Complaining about this, complaining about that. Man, your words, your thoughts, they're so fucking powerful. It's crazy. Like if you really, really knew, and I don't even know, I just have a little experience with it. Man, if you knew, boy, your thoughts, what? They're things. Your words are thoughts verbalized. They're powerful, man. And dude, it's something to be thinking about. I know it's easier not to think, but we got to think, y'all. And let's think positively. Let's raise our vibrations up. You see someone down, man, let's try and raise somebody up. You see another person that's up, man, let's celebrate together. Us two combine, two good vibes come together, man, we're heightening our vibe together. Again, sorry if I'm getting a little preachy. I definitely don't mean to preach. Anytime I do start preaching like that, you can take it if you want it, but just know I'm really just talking to myself, trying to remind myself some of these things. But, ooh. All right. This is a good one. This is a real good one. I was feeling the vibes on this one. Feeling the vibes. It's a little warm here, humid. But I'm all right. Let's call it a day. Thank you to everybody out there. As always, thank you for listening, supporting, giving me your attention, all of that shit. Like, it's cool. It's really, really cool. And I'm grateful to be where I'm at. I'm grateful for you. You know, whoever you are, if you need to hear that, man, I'm grateful for you. And I'm glad you are here. And I love you. Let's have my guy Colin rock us out, huh? It's a little listen up. Oh, tell me, baby, what's your story? 'Cause I've been thinking about you lately. Tell me, darling, you're a star girl. How the fuck do you not know the deal? 'Cause I've been thinking about you lately, and it's starting to drive me crazy. So I'm playing for you, darling. Listen up, listen up. All right. Much love, y'all. Peace.
Tell me, baby.
Yeah.
What's that story? Cause I've been thinking about you lately.
Yeah, come on.
Tell me, darling, you're a star girl. How the fuck do you not know the deal? I've been thinking about you lately, and
What
it's
else?
got me going crazy.
What else?
Playing for you, baby.
What else?
Listen up. Got me thinking about you, baby. And it's happening all the time. So I'm playing for you, darling. Now listen up.
Listen up.